Hello, my name is Patrick Hoban. I'm the CEO of the Bloomington Normal Economic Development Council, and I'm also a former Millikin student, so I'm an alumni there. And your teacher, Candace Baker, asked me if I could do a recording. Normally, I would come on campus so I can get to meet you and find out what you're interested in and try to customize my talk and actually feed off the audience while I'm talking and have a little bit more interaction. So this type of a, I don't know, webinar, or I mean, even in webinars, you get a little bit of communication, but this is a little bit different for me because I can't tell what the audience's reactions are. But we're going to go through a branding video, broken this down into a couple videos just because, yeah, 45 minutes or an hour straight of me talking. One, I don't know if I could do it without a break. And two, I know from being a college student that it'd be pretty tough to sit there and watch 45-minute video of somebody talking. So let's kick this off. All right, so this is building your brand with social media. Like I said, my name is Patrick Hoban. I am a certified economic developer. That's what that acronym is behind my name. In the business world, you're going to see the iceberg analogy quite a bit, and it kind of flows into what we're going to talk about today, because just like the iceberg, I recently hired a couple people, and you see a whole lot of graduates, but you don't really know what makes up the graduates. And that's why we really need to talk about branding today, to try to give you guys some tools I wish that I had whenever I started, but I developed over the last couple of years that really helped me set myself apart and build my brand. So my career path started off as a director of marketing. I was actually an intern at Cardwell Companies there in Decatur, Illinois, which had a collection of companies from an ad agency to real estate development, building owners, trying to think what else was there, travel agency. But it was pretty interesting to get in there, and it was when the web came out. So I ran all their websites, did their marketing campaigns, billboards, and it was pretty cool. And eventually they asked if I wanted to head over to Nichols Advertising, so I could use my 2-year degree that I'd got at Richland Community College in graphic design and web design. So I headed over there. I was there for a couple of years, and then our local EDC actually found my resume online. I think it was at Monster at the time. And they said, hey, if you know marketing and real estate development, come sell the whole town. So I ended up going over to the Economic Development Corporation of Decatur and Macon County. Our role there was to help our non-retailers grow and to bring in new ones. Used a variety of different technologies, just like the web design, video, 3D animation, and made marketing packages. We ended up doing close to $1 billion over the 10 years, combination of there and the city of Decatur of investment there in Decatur, which is pretty cool. So Caterpillar's big remodel was a big one, $400 million. And then also the Midwest Inland Port, which was about $250 million project. I was at the EDC in Decatur, which is a public-private partnership, so more behind the scenes, for about 7 years. And then there was an opening to be an economic development officer for the city of Decatur. So took a shot at that. Was there for about 3 years, and that was the government side. So no more behind the scenes. Everything was public and foyable, which was new to me. Focused on retail on that side. So not necessarily the non-retail, but more the retail, the restaurants, which was pretty cool because that made me a more well-rounded economic developer. After about 10 years, we had an opportunity to take a shot at Chicagoland, and there was an opening in the village of Tinley Park to be their economic development manager. And the girls were right in between 8th grade and high school, so we thought it'd be a good chance to move up to Tinley Park. So we did, and it was a very good experience, and also gave me the opportunity to attend Notre Dame, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That was primarily a bedroom community, so it was a lot of retail development, hotels, breweries, which was pretty neat. Then there was the opportunity, which we weren't actually even looking, but there was a CEO opportunity in Bloomington Normal that when I saw it, I knew some of the other people that were in the area, and I did go to ISU for a year. It was pretty cool to actually even be considered, but I ended up landing the job. So we ended up heading down to Bloomington Normal, which was closer to home back in central Illinois, and a lot of great things happening there, and actually being in charge of an economy of 171,000 people is amazing. Education-wise, what made me up? Like I said, went to Illinois State, so it was pretty cool to look out my office window now and see my old dorm at Manchester. I had way too much fun at Illinois State, though, so my parents ended up pulling me out after about 1 year. At the time, I was an art major. Like I said, the web was coming out, so ended up going to Richland Community College for a while. I learned graphic design, web design, which got me in the door at the EDC. From there, the EDC said, hey, if you want to move yourself up the ladder, you're going to have to get a better degree. So Millikin was right there in the backyard. So I got a degree in organizational leadership, which was an awesome degree because it covered a lot and has really helped me, in my role currently when I was manager and even now as a CEO, when it comes to building my team and knowing what my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, and how to really diversify and improve our team dynamics and hire accordingly. After that, ended up getting an economic development finance designation from the National Development Council, which that means is I can take a look at any business or any deal that's coming to the area to see if we should finance them and if it's a good project or a bad project, which takes quite a bit of analysis. Also went to the Economic Development Institute for the University of Oklahoma, which was about a 3-year process, and it allowed me to sit for an exam, become a certified economic developer. That's a 2-day exam. It's like a bar exam for lawyers. It's like that for economic developers. And once you have that designation, you can pretty much get a job anywhere in the world, which is pretty cool. After I got that, like I said, we moved up to Tinley Park, which was about half hour away from downtown Chicago, and there happened to be a campus in Chicago for the University of Notre Dame. And I knew that analytics was huge in my field and pretty much every field now, since we're all kicking out so much data, based off of our phones and our use and credit cards, everything else, that was going to be the way to go. So huge Notre Dame fans. Ended up getting my master's in business analytics, which actually set me up to take on this new CEO role I started about 8 months ago. So this is a huge communication course that you guys are in, and it's very, very important when it's building your brand. So first things first, just when you're talking in person, you have to consider that there's actually 6 people in the room. So there's who we think that we are, and then there's who they think that we are, and then there's who we really are, and that's for both people. I mean, to have the best brand, you really want to get all those to align. And whenever you're thinking about what you're doing online, just picture everybody watching you do it. So you guys are out there posting, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. There's a lot of other things, texting as well. You really have to be careful. This was normally a time in the class where I would have everybody Google themselves, because I've gone through applications before and I've seen photos of people doing cake stands. It's not a good look. So you just have to be aware of what you're putting out there. Whatever it's on Twitter, I mean, there's a lot of people that can get in trouble with that. They're just very, very mindful. I mean, it's to the point now, not even now, it's probably 10 years ago whenever we started it. But once it got past a certain time, and there's a pool party or something going on, you hide the phones. And if you're at any kind of a social gathering and you see cameras come out, you hide the adult beverages or anything else, because you have a brand to upkeep. Especially in a position like mine where I'm representing a community, you want to maintain professionalism at all times. So just be very careful about what you're putting out there, because we're going to Google you whenever we're looking at your resumes to see if you've got a good brand or not. And so we really need to focus on what we're putting out there and make sure that it's what we want people to see, which is what this lecture is actually about. So the agenda for today, it's going to be all about talking the talk. I'm hoping to make a couple more videos on walking the walk and then how we track everything. But today is just really, I want to make sure that you guys know where you can get information and how to share it to build that brand off the bat. So big thing I like to go off of is what you focus on expands, which is true. Like if you guys want to find bad news, you can find bad news. If you want to find good news, you can find good news. You really got to ask yourself, where do you want to be in about 5 years? And just build what you're looking at off of that. So, I mean, the process itself is finding out what we're looking for, framing it in our own words, and then sharing it. And how do we end up finding it? Easiest way to find it is through real simple syndication, which is RSS. And every blog that's out there, all the news sites that are out there, all have their own RSS feeds. There's a lot of information. And so instead of having the news fed to you by watching any of the major networks, those are all sponsored by advertisers, so are these, but at least you can pick and choose. I highly recommend checking out some blogs that are based off of what industries that you guys want to be in. So for me, I was all about technology, I was all about marketing, and then economic development. As soon as I got in the field, I tried to figure out how can I build up my brand in these 3 areas, because I already loved tech. Marketing was just something that was in my background, and econ dev was brand new to me. So the easiest thing to do For any industry that you guys want to get in, I recommend finding 3 because you never know if it's going to be one of those. Find a conference, all the conferences that are for that field, whether it's technology, marketing, whatever you're into. From there, find out who their sponsors are, find out who their vendors are at those conferences, and even their members, and just start following them. I mean, most websites that are out there are like the blog that we just looked at. They've got their own RSS feed. And so if you scroll to the very bottom of Lifehacker, you're going to see there's the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram logo, and then there's that little funny wave-like thing. That is the RSS feed. If you click on it, it ends up looking like this. It's a bunch of code. That means a whole lot of nothing. However, if you take that code and you dump it into a feed reader, so RSS reader, I like Feedly itself, it'll actually organize everything nice and neat for you. So highly recommend Googling Feedly. When you're off of here, sign up. It's a free source, and then just start cranking in things. They'll probably give you some suggestions that you're interested in. So instead of, like I said, watching the news or following YouTube or whatever, you can actually scroll through. I get about 400 to 500 headlines a day. Scroll through to see if there's any trends going on. Obviously, I study a lot of things that are happening in the Bloomington Normal area, but it also allows me to share a lot of this information. So the cool thing is you can click on any one of these links and it will open up a deeper dive. And if it's something that you want to read even further, you click on the link again, it'll take you to the website. If not, you can share it for later on. That's what that little elephant is there. That's they can link you straight up to Evernote. You can star it, so you can have your own favorite areas and actually create your own feed off those stars, or you can bookmark it for later. And then some of the other icons we'll get into in a little bit. And that's what we're going to talk about, the republishing side. So that's where we're going to frame it, and then we're going to share it from there. And we do that through a social media manager called Buffer. And if you notice that stack that's right there under the logo, it was one of the logos that is actually inside Feedly. So Buffer itself is pretty cool because I could be sitting here talking to you guys right now and at the same time publishing things on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever else, because you can actually schedule your posts. So you can find out whatever you want to do. You can write your own posts and then schedule them for later on. It actually gives you some popular times too. And it's an added cost, but if you sign up for it, you can get some analytics as well. So like I said, if you click on it, zoom in even closer, you can see the different things that you can use. You can email to somebody. You can go straight to LinkedIn or straight to Twitter. You can put it on WordPress if you have a blog. Like I said, I use Buffer right now. It's a very handy tool for me. If content is king, then context is God, and that is knowing what to say on each website. It's a little bit different, and that is something that I plan on diving into the future, because right now we're getting ready to hit the 13-minute mark, so I want to keep this thing closer to 15 minutes. And like I said, my name is Patrick Hoban, Certified Economic Developer, CEO of the Bloomington Normal Economic Development Council. If you guys want to look me up, check out linkedin.com/in/Pat Hoban. You can also follow me on Twitter at phoban. Let's connect. In the next couple of videos, we'll go into best practices of probably Twitter, LinkedIn itself, probably not so much on Facebook because it's more of a professional area. So we'll focus on Twitter and LinkedIn. Until then, yeah, leave some comments below and I'll try to answer them in the next video.